All right, we move on and we talk about we're going to talk about Saturday's main event coming up in Washington D.C. We got the tournament coming up for John
Yeah.
Cena's last match, a 16-man tournament featuring superstars of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and potentially other brands, as John Cena alluded to. A lot of people mentioned, and I noticed myself, Gunther was in the promo. And listen, you can have a lot of people in the promo and not have them in the tournament. But if you have Gunther, who's currently not been on television, in the promo, and you go out of your way to put him in the promo when we haven't seen him in a few months, he's got to be in this tournament for sure.
You would,
But we
you
do
would.
have the first two matches announced. And I'm going to be at Raw this upcoming Monday in Boston for John Cena's last trip there. We got Rusev and Damian Priest on Monday Night Raw this Monday versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Sheamus in the other. Or sorry, it's Rusev and Damian Priest versus each other, Shinsuke versus Sheamus. Do you see any of our first four people as potential for John Cena's last opponent? Are you interested even in these people in this tournament at all? As like are we just wasting time?
No, I am. I think it's cool because there's intrigue there, and again, just to
Intrigued
use.
with who?
Well, I mean, like social media has been intrigued about this because remember Bull Buchanan? Remember him? I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw, but his son's in NXT these days,
Well, I
and
no, I get the tournament to tournament. I'm not saying the tournament in general. I'm just saying the two matches we've already got so far. Rusev
yeah,
versus Damian
I
Priest,
am. I
Shinsuke
think
versus Sheamus. Any of these guys potentially going all the way to the finals?
Sheamus,
You think Sheamus and John Cena maybe?
Sheamus and John Cena could definitely happen. That could be a nice throwback. I mean, having some bangers, banger after banger after banger. I mean, Sheamus would kick the shit out of John Cena, like really kick his ass. And I think that would be a good match. I mean, of those four that you mentioned, that's probably the likeliest of the four. I don't see any of those four getting to that point. But if I had to pick one, Shamo would be my guy.
Okay, so none of the original four people are like intriguing. It's like we just watched the NCAA bracket
Like the
selection show
first
here for
four,
basketball,
Like,
and
yeah.
the first four are like, well, none of those are going to the championship, so we just wasted time. That's just to fill out the field,
Yeah, I mean, it'd
essentially.
be like you know what? We'll put a little tournament bracket on here, like the bracket challenge thing. Sheamus would be a Cinderella story if he got to the championship.
I think Rusev, I think Damian Priest, I mean, all of them would be a Cinderella story because of the fact that
Right.
I mean, I think Sheamus is probably the most likely because he has that essentially, he's been in the WWE for a very long
He's got the
time.
history.
Rusev kind of as well. If you remember, wasn't it Rusev and John Cena? Wasn't that the match at WrestleMania 31, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh
in
man.
San Francisco when Rusev came out with the tank, right? I think because it was
Oh, you're
pretty,
right. You're right.
yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you said the tank, you had me there. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Lana and the tank. I think that was
Yes.
big Rusev's first WrestleMania
Yeah. You're right.
when they were building him up. So he had that. But as for like Damian Priest and Shinsuke, there's not really any kind of rivalry there with John Cena. And listen,
Yeah.
it's not New Japan. We're not going to get Shinsuke versus John Cena in a 5-star
No.
Tokyo Dome. Like, so
No.
it's not that. So we're not getting that. I think obviously some people who haven't been mentioned yet, but are probably in this tournament. The Miz would be a person that you could probably bet on to make a good run. Obviously, Gunther. We don't know where he fits in here yet, but Gunther is definitely going to be in this tournament. I'm guessing that Gunther goes all the way to the finals. I'm guessing it's Gunther versus John Cena. That would be my guess, because obviously, you go out making a person, and I know Gunther is already
Hey,
made, but it would just beating Goldberg and John Cena and ending their careers in the same year. You don't think that would be like a Brock Lesnar 21-1 thing he's going to hang his hat on for the rest of
I will say this. It does create intrigue, though, this whole tournament thing. Like the point I was alluding to was Bull Buchanan's son, which is, I think it's Jensen, I believe his name is. Brooks Jensen, I believe his
Yes.
name is. Or Bear, what is it? Oh, God.
No, you're right.
Is it Brooks Jensen?
Yeah.
He came out on social media like it was the whole thing with obviously John Cena and Bull Buchanan, which is Brooks' dad. That was a whole thing. I kind of like that play on social media. Maybe Brooks Jensen gets a shot in the tournament. That would be cool because John Cena did say NXT could be anywhere, it could be anybody. Like now people are speculating Edge. Anything's possible, right? So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, again, obviously Edge, Chris Jericho, those are all would be awesome names, I think, to be in the. And again, I guess my thing is also too, and that's kind of part of this tournament, right? If Edge is in this tournament, and let's say Edge is in this tournament, but Chris Jericho isn't, or Chris Jericho's in this tournament, but Edge isn't. Are we just wasting our time with the tournament? Because like you're not gonna have Edge make his return to WWE, be in this tournament, and then what? Get knocked out in the quarterfinals and just be back to being like, all right, well, let me start a feud with somebody on the mid card, like like.
No, that's why they're announcing it the way they're announcing it because they probably got something up their sleeve. WWE, I think they got something. They
I
have
really
to
think
because
though, if it was Edge or Chris Jericho, I mean, if it's Edge and Chris Jericho in this tournament, then obviously one of them's going to lose. But if it's Edge or Chris Jericho, then this tournament is kind of a waste for me. You should have just said it's going to be Edge versus John Cena. Like that would be just how it should go if that would be the case.
I mean,
My opinion.
that's not a bad opinion. I mean, it's a fair opinion. It's a fair assessment. But at the same time, you could still bring back an Edge or a Chris Jericho, and they lose, say in the championship match that's going, the final two, so to speak, to face John Cena, and it was a great match. So then at that point, they're putting that person over to give them a little extra kick in the ass, so to go face John Cena. I mean, there's a bunch of ways you could do it. I mean, I don't see Chris Jericho or Edge on this bracket. I just don't see it.
But I mean, it should be interesting. Obviously, as the names, we're going to get more names as SmackDown comes along. It's weird because there's for first round matches, we have, there's 16, so there's 8 first round matches. We know of 2 currently, and we'll probably know of 2 more. So is it gonna? I really just wonder how they're gonna like space this out. It's not going to be really set, meaning that somebody from Raw could be in a quarterfinal match while we're still yet to have another first round match. Because like I said, they're literally doing it show by show. So
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw next week, when I'm watching Rusev versus Damian Priest in their first round match, they could also be announcing another first round match for the following week because they're going to be revealing. So again, it's like the NCAA tournament. It's like, them revealing other NCAA tournament matches in basketball while other ones are being played. You know what I mean? Rusev and Damian Priest will already have been decided while Adam Pearce is like, oh, here's another first round match announcement this upcoming week on SmackDown or next week on Raw. So it's literally like not.
That's a perfect analogy. The way you put that, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, that's
because Rusev and Damian Priest is happening on Raw, and so they've said they've announced 2 matches for Raw, and they're going to announce 2 matches on SmackDown, I imagine, for the following week's SmackDown. Yeah. So we're going to have only half the field filled. So on Monday Night Raw, we're going to be having 2 first round matches taking place while we don't even know the other half of the field. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's kind of Royal Rumble-ish, how like 2 people are fighting in the Royal Rumble while we don't even know who number 15 is, but like we already know who's not going to win the Royal Rumble, who's already getting eliminated before we know the rest of the field. So it's similar in that sense, except for obviously like we'll already know Rusev and Damian Priest and Shinsuke and Sheamus, who's been already eliminated.
You know what it is? It's just a blind bracket.
No other parts of the field.
It's a blind bracket, is what it is.
So there'll be 2 first round matches this week. I imagine there'll be 2 first round matches the following week. And like I said,
I would assume.
So whoever wins Rusev and Damian Priest or Shinsuke and Sheamus will probably have a few weeks off. Because like I said, they'll probably space it out so we can have more first round matches before they get to their quarterfinals matches, if you will. But it's interesting nonetheless, the idea. And obviously we talk Edge and Chris Jericho. Any other wild cards out there from other companies that you could see in this tournament, or maybe, like a TNA wild card?
Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry. I mean, that's that.
I mean, I know he's like transitioned from TNA to NXT, but that's like the first name that pops up with that TNA NXT brand. Joe Hendry would be the first. That'd be a great name. I think that'd be a fun match, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, we saw Joe Hendry and Randy Orton last year, WrestleMania. That was one of the bigger pops of that show. I think obviously they talk about the other brand potential. Or other companies, right? I think it's obviously everything under the WWE umbrella. We're not going to AEW.
No.
There's nobody from CMLL who's going to be a part of this or anything like that.
But that part's definitely not happening. We're not going to see anybody from Tony Khan's brands at all. I don't see that.